Welcome into another Monday night, guys. My name is Tanner Dawson, the Whiskey Sports Podcast, and let's talk sports. Joined with me, as it is every Monday night, Nick Botkins of the Botkins Show. Nick, what's up, man?
What's up, everybody? What is up, Tanner? Hey, I'm already looking forward to Sunday. You know, everybody who's watched this program knows I'm a diehard Joey B fan, and here he comes to your town. Daddy's coming home. You guys, so-called Chief fans, you wanted this revenge game.
That's what we wanted. We wanted to be
We'll
in
find
Arrowhead.
out how bad you want it on Sunday.
Yeah,
we'll find out how bad you want it.
I'm excited. I still want it. I'm super excited for this match. It's exactly what I asked for, is to have this come home to Arrowhead and get this curse broken. We're in a new year, new result. That's what I'm saying.
You want it like every girl wants anal. They think they want it, and then afterwards it hurts real bad.
That's how we're starting this. Oh man, watch out, people. That was great. That was such a great start. All right, guys. Of course, today we're going to be joined by Jim Behringer if he stays on long enough after that. And then Jonathan Grishman join us here, of course, at the back half of the show. We're talking all sorts of stuff. I'm sure if you see me peek away here, I'm watching my Jayhawks lose and get out rebounded and try
it's gonna be three games in a row for the Jayhawks.
Possible, dude. Hopefully not. It's a big game.
TCU on Saturday.
TCU owns the Kansas teams this year. So
who they playing right now?
They got Baylor, number 17.
Baylor's tough. At least that's respectable. I mean, losing to K-State's not a K-State's what, top 5 team now?
Yeah, they're for number 4. K-State. I had 2 teams circled going into conference play. It was Iowa State and K-State. And TCU's actually that last couple matchups. The one against K-State where they blew K-State out by 20, and then they blew KU out by 20. I got to give some mad props to them. So TCU looking back at it after such a slow start too. So look, it's how it is. It's the world of the Big 12 final year for I think Texas and Oklahoma, and then we bring in Houston, who lost to Temple last night. Yeah, UCF coming into play. We got who else is it? Cincinnati hopping in the show. So, you know, it's not getting any easier. Let me tell you that. There's a lot more basketball schools in the way. So they got to figure life out. So, but let's get at it here. I know you're dying, Nick. I know you're dying to talk about this. So we'll bring him in and we'll get this thing rolling. Let's bring him in. Jim Behringer, everybody. Jim!
What's up, man? What's up, boys?
Hey, you stuck around. That's good.
I was laughing my butt off backstage when Nick said that. I was laughing my butt off.
I was like, man, that's how we're starting this? I like it.
I like it. Right? It's Monday. Hey, it's Raw 30. You know, they had the Triple X sign up for Raw 30. Why not? Let's do it.
Let's do it. Exactly. That's right.
Exactly. Jim, I mean, speaking of being hurting, you got to be hurting for the Giants after what happened on Saturday. You could have shut that game off after the first quarter.
I did.
I mean, the Giants just no-showed. I mean, was it a no-show, or that's just who they are against the good Eagles?
I think it's a combination of both. I think the play calling was not good. I think some decisions they made. And we've talked about it pretty much all season long. I mean, if you can stop them from running the football, they really can't beat you down the field. That was just top level defense by Philadelphia. Their offense was just a machine. The Giants just really couldn't stop anybody, but you got to give credit to the Giants this year. Let's be honest. Like, no one really thought they would be in the playoffs, thought it'd be a down year. Dable, first year head coach. And I understand, like, he wants to be aggressive all year, but 4th and 8, I'm punting the football, I'm making the Eagles go the distance. You never know, because that defense, I think, could have eventually got going, but you can't let them be out there, short field, 3 and out, interception. Like, from that point on, it just was spiraling downhill. Maybe you punt the ball. If Jones doesn't trip over his own lineman, the drive's probably continuing. Maybe they do what they did against Minnesota. They score there because they were actually moving the football on Philly. like that was the thing. They were actually moving the football, and then it just stopped. And from there, it was just all right. Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, the running game, and that's all she wrote.
Nah, yeah, it was. I mean, it was a rough game to try to stay attention to. Especially after that first quarter, first half, let alone. But 109 yards net passing does not do it against the number 1 seed. At all.
I thought I had hopes going. I actually thought the Giants were going to pull off the upset going into that game. Maybe I just read too much into the Vikings game, or I was just low on the Eagles. I don't know. I just was smelling upset. I guess I was smelling cocaine instead of an upset.
I mean, this was the game Jalen Hurts needed to show that, hey, I'm okay. I'm healthy. And this is what happens when Jalen Hurts is healthy to run that offense. So, it was a big show up game for Hurts and them.
Yeah, I mean, big show up game. Like I said, Hurts, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, those guys were just clicking. And like we said, the Giants, you shut down Barkley and Daniel Jones running the football. They're not going to really do much through the air. I mean, Hodgins and Ricky James, those guys can do things, but they just it wasn't meant to be. But again, hats off to this team. They were better than a lot of people expected them to be. They made a playoff. They tried to build on it. Again, I think they're a couple years away from causing real damage. They got to settle everything in the offseason with Saquon, with Danny Dimes, all those guys got to come back. You got to upgrade your weapons. You got to be able to stretch the field and protect him, because you could clearly see when that pass rush got through, Jones was scrambling again, and just the decision-making has to be a little bit better. And again, you look at Daboll, he punts the ball in the fourth quarter, same situation. That's when you should be punting in the first quarter and going for it in the fourth quarter when you're down that many. Again, just poor decision-making. I think if it was 4th and 2, 4th and 1 maybe, I'd say, all right, I'm okay with the call, but 4th and 8, just punt the ball away and see what happens.
I'm pretty sure Daboll called Brandon Staley around that time, said, hey, what should I do?
Yeah, probably.
4th and 8 it? Should I go?
What?
Yeah, okay.
What do you feel like the Giants need to do to take that next step next year?
Definitely get a wide receiver that can stretch the field. That's the big thing for me. I think their defense has to be tightened up a little bit more too, especially the cornerback position. They got exposed there. But again, you got nice pieces. Lauren, you got Kayvon Thibodeau. Get that old line short up too. But again, it starts off okay. Who you franchising? Who you bringing back? Saquon definitely deserves another contract with the Giants. Daniel Jones deserves an extension. So they have a lot of questions to answer, and it was a good season for them. So you can't, you lost to the best team in the NFC. Obviously, I'm rooting for the 49ers to win, but that doesn't take away from the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles were probably the best team in the NFC this year.
Real quick here, we got a comment here from Tufel. Tufel, always appreciate you. He goes, this is to Nick, by the way. He keeps doubting Kelsey teams. One day he'll learn. He's not going to learn, okay? It's just
I'm not doubting the Kelsey teams. I picked the Chiefs to beat the Jaguars. I like both Kelsey boys. I think they're incredible football players.
Now this week, instead of having the Giants over the Eagles, now you're going to have, the Bengals over KC.
Yeah, but that's not a bad pick. But that's not a bad pick, because I'm taking the Bengals over KC.
Yeah,
I love it. I want to be the underdog.
And let's go there, Tanner. How are you feeling? I mean, Mahomes on one leg here, and you're, talking, and here come the Bengals. I mean, Joey Burrow. I feel like now when I talk about Joey Burrow, everybody's just like, oh, it's just Nick talking about how much he loves Joey Burrow. But if you watch the tape, he looks like the best quarterback in the league right now.
This Bengals team, far from it, right? Far from the drop-off that the Rams had that they were supposed to have, supposedly, this Bengals team.
The Super Bowl hangover, yeah.
Yeah. This Bengals team has played lights out. They played such a hard schedule at the end. Now they're in the Conference Championship game coming off. I mean, a hard schedule. They were supposed to even make the playoffs technically by the time they came off that bye week. So it's all props to them. They've all come together despite the injuries on the O-line, working around with Chase, Boyd, and Higgins. The defense has stepped up huge. Like this Bengals team is no joke, right? This ain't as I considered last year's more of a joke than this year's team, just because of the fact that the Bengals actually proved it this year on what they do. So, I mean, am I thinking like, yeah, 99%, Chiefs got this, whatever, easy win? Hell no. It ain't going to be an easy win. But I like the reports that came out with Mahomes today off a Reed's press conference was, yeah, it's a high ankle, but he had a worse injury back in 19 when he missed the the middle of the season Packers game to the QB sneak with his leg. He said,
yeah. He was hurt with the Titans in the Titans game.
Yeah, that's right. And so it was worse then than it is today. So look, he's playing as long as he can play and he can move without pain. I'm sure they're gonna wrap it up, give it a shot, at halftime like they did early. But as long as Mahomes is in, anything can happen. Honestly,
it is.
Our chances are there, right? It's not like it's going to be a blowout. It's not the Bills, all right? This is Patrick Mahomes here, and he however he does it, I don't know how he does it. He even before he even got hurt, I don't know if you guys saw, but he jumped up in the middle of the pile to throw a dart straight to Kelsey in the air. So it's like, whatever, man. As long as he's on the field,
guy's superhuman. To me, Mahomes is superhuman. But here's the difference: that Bengals defense can rush the quarterback, and if he can't move, that's going to be the biggest
Hubbard
issue
and
for
Hendricks
me.
are dogs.
Oh yeah, no, I mean this is definitely a step up from the Jacksonville O line, but our defensive line, but our O line too. If Orlando Brown can protect anybody outside of that, Tooney, Creed, Trey Smith, even Wiley on the right tackle side is all pretty solid. It's our left tackle that we got to kind of worry about, which is how Mahomes got hurt in the first place. It was that Orlando Brown gave up 3 or 4 sacks, or if not hurries, at least QB pressure. So it's a struggle there. But overall, I think the overall line is tremendously better going against a defense like the Bengals. And I compare the defense of the Bengals similar to the 2020 Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. That defense, just because they attack, they don't allow a lot of stuff here. And that when we had that Super Bowl, right, we were with 4 backups of our offensive line, and they just shuffled to new spots that day or that week. They're going to the Super Bowl, so I like it a better situation going against a defense like that. Like I said, I'm anticipating a freaking shootout like it is every single time we play the Bengals, almost except for the last title game, right? It's going to be that way, but as long as Mahomes is on the field, anything can happen.
Look, to me, the biggest, the big thing for me when you play the Chiefs is if you have them down, you got to knock them out.
Correct.
Because Patrick Mahomes will bring this team back from the abyss. He will. He will literally carry.
You can say that about both teams, though, right? To me, you can say that about Joey Burrow's not gonna. He don't get rattled. They don't get rattled.
But the Chiefs, I've seen it too many times with the Chiefs. If you have them down and you don't knock them out, they will come back and win the game. Am I wrong, Tanner?
No, you're right.
No, you're right.
We've seen
I never thought
right?
it.
Keep them off the field.
Yeah.
Keep them off the field.
But in that game on Saturday or Sunday, yesterday's game, the Bills game and Bengals, I never once thought the Bengals were any sort of trouble. It's just like Joey Burrow just ran it right down, got it right, got the ball, score, got the ball again, score. And you're just like, it's going to be like this all day. The Bills are going to be in trouble. And once they got to 3 scores, you're just like, it's over. Just go ahead and shut the TV off.
100%. I agree with that. I mean, Burrow's been cool. He's got 1 playoff loss in his career. He has I believe my buddy was telling me earlier today, he said that the Bengals had 5 playoff wins before Joe Burrow got there. He's just tied the franchise record for playoff wins by himself.
Yeah. Yep. It was going to be these 4 teams regardless. Here's the 4 conference championship teams are combined 35-2 with their current QB starting since November 1st. Joe Burrow 10-0, Brock Purdy 7-0, Pat Mahomes 10-1, Jalen Hurts 8-1.
Wow.
Wait, Purdy's only 7-0. I thought it was 8-0. I thought Purdy was 8-0.
Well, he's 8-0 now as a starter, but since November, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe he's 8-0. I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way,
Either way, it doesn't matter.
I mean, it was going to be these 4 teams, right? Like they've been playing. These 4 teams been the hottest all year, or going into the last 2 months of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Big
The
time.
last time the Bengals lost, they didn't have Jamar Chase, and that was that Monday night stinker they had against the Browns.
Yeah, and then Halloween from there on, it was just see you later, winning left and right.
Yeah.
So
And they've been playing tough team after tough team.
yeah, they have. Like I said, they're into the schedule. When we were picking playoff teams or potential wildcard teams at that bye week, essentially for Bengals, I was like, "There's no way. There's no way the Bengals can pull this off, being down to the Ravens and having to pull a wild card out of their butt." And then they go out and beat every single team. Tennessee fell off, but they beat Tennessee before they fell off. They beat the Chiefs. They beat Tampa, right? Tom Brady in Tom Brady's house.
And we don't know what would have happened if the Bills and Bengals played that first game.
True.
We really don't know what would have happened. Because
I do. I think I do know what would happen. It would have been yesterday's game, because that's what it looked like from the one drive we got of the Bengals. What they do? They drove right down and scored a freaking touchdown. And I mean, they were getting ready to do it again. It looked like.
Yeah, it looked like, you're right, probably. And then we're talking about potentially this game being in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the Bengals being the number 1 seed if the Chiefs would have stumbled against the Raiders, but that obviously didn't happen.
Probably didn't happen. But still, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, because like these are the guys of the future, and the fact that we're getting this in back-to-back years with these 2 guys, it means the NFL's in such great hands with guys leaving. Like, it's just in such good hands.
You got these 2, and then you still have Josh Allen, and then you have Trevor Lawrence, who's look like he's, I mean, leaps and bounds exactly what we thought he was going to be. And then you had Justin Herbert as well on the AFC.
You could even throw Lamar Jackson into things technically whenever he's healthy. He takes that team far. So
for the next 10 years or so, like the AFC is going to be tough to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, because of these quarterbacks. The NFC is going to have to figure it out, because I don't know who's their bright star quarterbacks now. You know what I mean? Is it Jalen Hurts? And then who else?
Maybe Purdy. I mean, it sounds like Purdy's going to be the guy in San Francisco going forward.
Fields.
Is it going to be Fields? I mean,
if Fields stays. I mean, maybe I guess from a winning perspective, no, but you know,
he's got to build a team around him. You know what I mean? It's going to take some time for Justin Fields, I feel like.
Let's up in the comments real quick here too, before I fall too far behind. More importantly, fellow Pepsi Zero drinker, what do you think of the new recipe? It's a little more diety. Okay, it's a little bit more of the Diet Coke style, honestly, than it used to be. But it's not bad. I'll still drink it. He looks forward to the game, no matter the outcome. Chiefs to the Super Bowl. But it'll be a great one. He's a Chiefs fan, just in case you guys need some FYI there. I haven't seen Burrow pull a rabbit out of his ass yet to make it happen, so that's fair. And Allen is getting exposed. Even Diggs is sick of it.
I think emotions just got the best of Diggs yesterday.
It's just how Diggs is, right? You saw him back in Minnesota when, Thielen was coming up on his, stardom at the time, and you didn't have anybody throwing you the ball. Like, yeah, you hate losing, but sometimes that's part of the game. Like, it's tough. It's tough.
How many times T.O. go off on a sideline?
Oh yeah, all the time.
A lot.
All the time.
Right?
All the time.
Wide receivers, it's a prima donna position. It's a diva position. They're never going to be happy, even if they get all the touches.
Well, didn't he have? Let me click.
He had 4 receptions yesterday.
Yeah, 4.
I mean, he's the best receiver on the team. He should be getting more than 4 looks and 4 touches.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's the credit to Cincinnati, who was bringing the heat all day.
Yeah, that's Cincinnati's defense did a good job on him. It's not like I felt like Josh Allen was ignoring them. They just struggled.
No, he had 10 targets. 10 targets.
You targeted 10 times, 4 receptions. You get targeted 10 times a receiver. That's what you want.
Right, exactly. But Cincinnati's defense was good. And on the flip side of things, what did Cincinnati do? They knew they had to protect Burrow, but they put in a game plan where he released the ball in under 3 seconds.
Yeah, Joe Burrow was on lights out yesterday. Just, hey, I know you got no offensive line. I'm just going to zip it. real quick.
I mean,
That's what he
Jamar
did.
Chase, Nick Mixon, all these guys, they march the field. And, if they can take the crowd out early like they did against Buffalo, Cincinnati's going back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're going against a team that knows how to keep the other quarterback off the field, and that's the second best time possession team is the Bengals, right? So the Bengals play their game, right, and make our defense work. It could be a long day. It could be a long day. That's all it takes. Like like we've seen it before. You keep Mahomes off the field, you don't have really much to worry about. So,
No.
by the way, Tufel says he stood there solemnly watching the other team celebrate without fuss. Before the official loss, he spazzes. After the game, he jetted quicker than a kicker avoiding contact. I mean that story.
He was, man. I mean, I get it. They went to the AFC Championship game, and then the Chiefs divisional game last year. It was a tough loss, and then like yesterday, it just got worse. I mean, that's not the game that they thought. But I went in thinking the Bengals were going to win that game. I mean, I was hammering money line points and everything, all Bengals yesterday.
I do appreciate that win. That money line did help. So that's good victory right there. So, what do you think on the handshake there, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow? What's your guesstimate? I want to hear what you guys thought that Josh Allen was telling Joe Burrow on that handshake. He was like really up close, like he was trying to really get a message across.
Josh Allen was telling Joe something, or Joe was telling Joe something?
Josh Allen was telling Joe.
Well, if I was Josh Allen and I saw Joe Burrow, I'd say, man, how do I become as cool as you are, bro? Because you are the coolest fucking guy in the world.
Absolutely.
Can I have one of your cigars?
Yes. Look at you. And look at me. Of course you're going to win this fucking game, guy. You're the coolest guy in the world. I'm not even mad. That's what he probably said.
He said, go beat KC again.
All right.
And more choice words.
Exactly.
It is. I think that's
what was you guys the one game we ain't really talked about yet, and I want to get you guys' thoughts. The Cowboys and 49ers game. I felt like everything came so hard for the Cowboys. Every yard, every inch. It just felt like they struggled. The whole Dak Prescott shit the bed to me. Yeah. I mean, just where was he at yesterday? Because the two bad interceptions, and then he has CeeDee Lamb wide open, really. And all he's got to do is lob it, and instead he throws a dart, and there's Fred Warner to knock it away. Like, if he lobs that over the shoulder, Lamb probably walks in for a touchdown.
Easily. I mean, look, it was a defensive struggle. The fact that it was 9-9 at the half with two interceptions just says how every yard was so hard to get. And both teams played good defensively. I mean, look, that was the best defense Brock Purdy's seen since he's, started a game for San Francisco. They played well, but
there you go. He was talking to Josh Allen.
That's what he would have told
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson, yeah.
Exactly. But I mean, it was a good game. It was just, it was slower than the other ones. But San Francisco did what they had to do to get the job done, and now they go play a tough Eagles team.
Yeah, I said the game when the 49ers-Cowboys game, I said first one to 17 wins. And I mean, 49ers got 19.
Yeah.
I think what we saw was as soon as Tony Pollard went down,
different game.
Offense was completely ruined from there on out. It didn't matter what happened. If Pollard wasn't in the game, it wasn't the same offense. It was 49ers game tremendously the entire time.
How high was Mike McCarthy on that last play of the game? Like, what?
What was that?
What are you dialing up? First of all, why is Zeke in protection? He gets trucked. Once the ball gets snapped, he got trucked. Like,
he did. It was like a little kid on a grown man, and a grown man just said, "See you later."
He really. I mean, I know Zeke's a big dude, but he's not used to like protection like that. And then Dak had no chance of bombing that thing down the field.
No,
they had
know
no
that
chance for the hook and laterals or whatever they were going to do.
I think the process, the thought process to me was they knew they're on their own 30 at that point in time.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to get it. It's a like you would need just because Schultz screwed up twice, didn't get out of bounds the first play, and then the second play he just doesn't get his foot down. Nobody's even around him. Just put your foot down. All he had
to do was put his toe down.
And he doesn't do that. And then you got a chance. If he cuts that, you maybe have a chance at a Hail Mary. I think the last play was like, look, we're going to do a bunch of hook and ladders. We can't have any fat people out on there because we need all our athletic people. So Zeke, extend all our fat people off. Everybody, all the fast people come on the field. And they're like, well, we need somebody to hike it. And they just thought, maybe they thought the 49ers wouldn't rush anybody. And like, they'll just drop everybody back. It'll be like schoolyard football. Zeke, you hike it. And but I don't know what that was. They should have just ran the annexation of Puerto Rico.
He threw it to the wrong side of the field. He threw it to the one guy to the left instead of the trips or whatever it was. Over there.
I don't even know if it was. I think you would call it like quads or even
quads. I don't think they had time. I just think Zeke got bulldozed.
Zeke got bulldozed. And it's like, all right, I got to get this ball out of my hand as quickly as possible. Who's open?
He's like, he's looking at the wrong
play I've ever seen in my life.
This is bad at the Pat McAfee play.
The Colts play, yeah.
Yeah, where they weren't supposed to hike it, but they hiked it anyways. It was like that on steroids.
that was so bad.
I was like, this is how we're ending the game. This is how you guys are ending the game. Once again, the Cowboys cease to impress.
Zeke's last game as a Cowboy, you think?
I don't think so.
I don't think
he said he'd take a pay cut to stay in Dallas. He looks fat and slow.
He doesn't.
The explosive's just not there anymore.
Yeah, he just doesn't look like himself anymore. I mean, I think it also helped that when Tony Pollard was there in the game, like he was getting some rest, and he didn't like with Saquon, he didn't have to do the hard yards.
Yeah.
And
that's why when Tony Pollard went out, all of that went away.
Game over.
All of that went away. I didn't have to watch any more.
Jim, I wanted to update you. So I know you said the Giants need to be the wide receiver market. Well, I just kind of Googled a quick Google search here, the 44 wide receiver free agencies, and the options are not great, my friend.
Oh, nobody. So nobody's available.
Yeah, no. I mean, Alan Lazard. If you're interested in him, believe me, he's not a true number one. Maybe we can interest you in an 80-year-old Julio Jones.
No, I'm good. No.
Jacoby Myers, Mr. TikTok himself, Juju Smith-Schuster, 90-year-old AJ Green, Jarvis Landry, my guy N'Keal Harry, Miami's always hurt Watkins, and a bunch of nobodies.
So basically nobody.
You're talking about wide receivers, right?
Yep. Your best interest is re-sign Richie James because he's about to be a free agent.
Sterling Shepard's still there. DJ Chark.
Chark's not. I mean, Marvin Jones. Didn't you guys have Marvin at one time?
I think they did.
Yeah, they did. Nelson Aguilar is the highest one there, technically.
Yeah, that's a pass. I'll pass. Thanks.
Byron Pringle, well, he didn't do nothing with the Bears. Jacoby Myers would be one to kind of keep an eye out for on the New England side.
Yeah, maybe that guy. I mean, again,
and what happens with Juju?
I mean, Juju's still a good player, but again,
he's not going to be your number one, though. He's not somebody you're like, that's our number one. If he's your number one, you're in trouble.
He's our number one.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
Travis Kelce's your number one.
Get out of here. That's a tight end, dude.
I know that, but he's your number one option. He's still your number one option. When they design a play up, they're not saying, hey, let's get the ball to Juju. No, they're designing the play to get Travis Kelce one-on-one.
Yeah.
If Kelce's open, I mean, he's there.
He's the real number one. Yeah. I know he's a tight end, but he's the number one option.
Yeah, he is the number one option, 100%.
I'm just saying from a wide receiver standpoint, he's our number one.
Yeah, hey, Daniel Jones, Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean?
Oh man. Oh
Jim,
man.
has the Giants fan base kind of changed their tune on DJ?
A little bit, yeah. I definitely think so. I think coming into the season, they wanted to see what he could do this year. He definitely earned an extension in my book, and he definitely played a lot better than I expected. Again, if you can shore up the offensive line, we know what Dable can do with this guy. You have to give him another chance. I mean, I think, again, he cut back on the biggest thing, turnovers this year.
Yes.
If he can continue to do that, maybe you can finally win my vote over.
I think this game against the Eagles was essentially how long do they sign him for, right? So
Yeah.
the Minnesota one got him 1-3. Now the Philadelphia game would have got him 3-5.
Oh,
That's how I took it.
I mean,
I think they're going to give him a 3-year extension regardless.
I think so.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I got to ask, Jim, I got some hockey questions for you. So
all right, here we go. All right, before we get out of here. Yeah, definitely.
So my buddy wants to know the business. He messaged me and I said, I don't know. Let me ask my hockey guy.
All right.
Is it Johnny Gaudreau?
Johnny Gaudreau, yeah.
Is he the Leon Messi of hockey right now is what I was told? Or that's what they're building this kid as?
I mean, his nickname is Johnny Hockey. So that was his nickname back at school when he went to Boston College. He won a World Junior medal with Team USA. He's one of the best American-born players in a while. He was up in Calgary for the longest time because, well, that's where he got drafted. And, they had a good season. Then he left to go. Well, he's supposed to come. Story goes he's supposed to go to Philadelphia. Philadelphia doesn't want to move James Van Riemsdyk and a first-round pick to Arizona to get the cap space for him. New Jersey wanted him, but he decides to sign in Columbus. That didn't really go over too well. He's still having a good season, but he could be having a better season on a lot better teams right now. And he's still a good hockey player. But
how young is the kid?
He's like in his 20s.
So he's still young, right? This ain't his rookie season. He's been around a little bit.
No, he's been a while. Yeah.
Okay. So he's not the Leonardo Messi of hockey.
No, I'm not gonna call him Messi. No, I wouldn't call him Messi. No.
So how come he's not like the big star then? If he's American born, how come this is like the first time like an outsider like myself has ever heard of this kid?
Because he was playing in Calgary. He's playing in the Western Conference. Now he's playing in Columbus. He's on East Coast time now, so more people can see him.
Okay.
I mean,
Columbus isn't good though.
They suck this year.
Yeah,
I mean, they're bad. They are really bad.
They're a team I target on all my bets. So.
Yeah, they are really bad this year. They have some trade options, guys like that guy Dennis Gavrikov. He's being targeted. He could potentially get a nice first round pick, maybe more this year that Columbus is looking at because I don't know if they're going to be able to resign him going forward.
And why'd the Canucks fire Boudreau, former Stanley Cup winner?
Man, this is a complete mess. I mean, how much time do we have on the show? Because this is
go ahead. Give us the short and skinny.
I mean, this organization is a complete mess. Last year, it goes back to last year when they brought him in. They didn't want to re-sign. They were all season long. You heard Brock Besser and JT Miller are going to be traded. They're going to be gone. That was it. They were going to be moved at the deadline or in the summer. They weren't going to be re-signed. All of a sudden, both guys re-signed. You're like, what? Wait a minute. What is this team doing? Then they really didn't do much. They kind of called a retool. They didn't call a rebuild. But going into the season, they didn't give him a real extension, and there wasn't really much belief in him. And they were like, all right. And then after they got off to that start where they couldn't hold leads and things just went bad from worse, they've been looking for a coach. Bruce Boudreau said today on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio that he knew he was probably going to be fired on October 8th when the season started because they just were looking for somebody else. They bring in Rick Tocchet. It was handled nothing against Tocchet. He was a good guy. He's on TNT, but the Canucks organization from top to bottom mismanaged the situation entirely poorly because this guy then had to start all the time asking about job security by all the media, and you could see it was wearing on him, but it was, handled with class. Just everything they've done, the decision-making top to bottom hasn't been great. Jim Rutherford really hasn't fit in with this team since he came there, and they have decisions to make. Bo Horvat wants out. He's the captain. You have Andre Kuzmenko they want to sign, but if they can't, he's going to be traded. Luke Schen's going. Brock Vester's probably going. They just have so many options, and they have so many bad contracts that they wanted to shed themselves of that they continue to have. So it's just ugly in Vancouver.
He's the fall guy for the whole organization.
Yeah, he's the fall guy because the organization screwed up top to bottom. And they didn't want him there. If they really wanted him there, and the Bruce there it is chance, the fans respected him, they loved him, the players loved him, but the organization just they didn't believe in him, or they just didn't give him the contract, and they just figured, oh, it's going to be a quick fix, and this team's going to be good enough, and they didn't, and they're just like, all right, we're going to go in a different direction.
And this is like to the owner down, or it's just like a GM front office kind of thing.
It's top to bottom, in my opinion. I think the owner, Aquilini's, they don't want to go full on rebuild. The management, it's just like they had assets to trade away at high value, and they didn't do anything with them. And the development of players, what who wants out, who's going to stay. Bad contracts they bring in, it's just not good.
That's rough. And I remember him talking about it after a game. He got asked about it. He goes, "I'm here till they tell me otherwise."
Right. And then you could see it like this last couple games before Saturday night when it definitely was reported that was his last game. Friday he was getting emotional, but the media, the same thing. And then, ownership coming out, blaming the media about all this stuff. It's like, well, wait a minute. Well, your guys, somebody inside that organization is leaking stuff. So, it's not our fault that, people are telling us that Rick Tocchet is going to be the next head coach of this team when you clearly want it to happen because his contract with TNT said he had to give him 4 weeks notice. So that backtracks it to before American
so even a month ago, they knew he was
exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
So
but they knew a month ago they were going to fire this guy.
They're probably even longer than that.
I'd have quit. I'd have quit.
I mean, but Bruce Boudreau has so much class that he handled it with so much dignity, and he's probably going to get another job in the National Hockey League again.
Right. He seems like hockey coaches always seem to bounce around. I mean, a lot like basketball coaches seem to bounce around, and he's won at least a Stanley Cup. So anytime you can put that on your resume.
Get you places.
Yeah, get you places.
I got one more question for you. How important Norris got injured? He's done for the year for the Senators. He was their leading scorer last year. How big of a blow is that to them?
That's definitely a tough blow, especially with that young core that they've had. With Alex DeBrincat, Brady Tkachuk, Claude Giroux to come in, Tim Stützle, but Norris with the injuries again, his injury history with with the shoulders, he just seems to be injury prone, and he's a part of that core going forward. So you just hope that he gets healthy and 100% for next season because he's definitely a big piece for them going forward. He's such a great player for them, and he can generate a lot of offense.
Yeah, that was an injury I kind of circled around when I go betting.
Yeah,
I kind of stay clear for now. We'll see how things progress, but it's not a thing I trust at the moment.
I don't trust the Islanders scoring goals either.
No, big time. Well, I mean, I took the Maple Leafs puck line today, -1.5.
All right, so you did good.
So yeah, because they're without one defensive and two offensive guys now.
Yeah,
like
the Islanders. Yeah.
So yeah, when we got that, of course, 5-2. So, but I was like, that's just money there. Like I don't trust it on the other side of things, but like to go against them, against a high scoring team like a Maple Leafs and other teams, I'll do that all day.
Absolutely.
So.
I would do it too.
Yeah, there we go. All right, Jim, we'll let you go, man. Appreciate you hopping on, talking with us here, NFL and NHL. We'll catch you next week. So
absolutely, boys. It'll be championship review time.
That's right.
Get ready. Who you got winning, Jim? Give us your winners for this weekend.
Throwing back to the 1980s. I've been sticking with this 49ers Bengals Super Bowl.
That's what I got too.
I like it.
No, you don't, Tanner. You want the Chiefs to win. Of course you don't.
I like it. Nah, keep going. I love hearing these Bengals favorites,
Look, to be honest,
I'm going to forward it all to Patrick Mahomes. So
look, this is just me.
You're going to
being
forward
a
to
fan.
Brittany more or less.
This is just me being a fan. I just would like to see that. Brings back some memories, Montana and the Bengals. Yeah. So that would just be fun.
All I know is I think this year's Super Bowl will be pretty damn entertaining.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Like, despite who gets there. Yeah, just excited for it. All right, Jim, we'll talk next week after championship week. So
see you, Jim.
Dude.
See you guys. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure here on a Monday night.
Always. Thanks, Jim.
Peace.
Jim Behringer, everybody. Man. KU's losing, by the way. So getting bummed.
It happens. Shout out to I was watching Iowa women's basketball. Shout out to Caitlin Clark. If you guys don't know who that is, look her up. Probably the best basketball player in all the women's, maybe men's. I mean, that girl can absolutely hoop.
Ball. Did you see that for women's NCAA, the first time ever there's no Texas teams in the top 25?
I did see that. Yeah.
How crazy is that?
Exactly.
There's like 30 schools in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, Baylor's usually ranked right there. I mean, I guess their programs fell off. I mean, sad to see, really.
Baylor, Texas. Who else was it? SF Austin has always been kind of hovering around that top 25 for them. They fell off. Oh, man. How crazy is that shit? It just blows my mind.
Well, I think I read a stat, too. Since like 2002, this was like the first time the divisional round playoffs didn't have Rodgers, Brady, Big Ben, and Manning. Like one of them four in the divisional rounds of the playoffs.
What the world? And like, what was it the week before? Jacksonville and Chiefs have been in the AFC title game like the last 7 years or something like that.
Oh yeah, because before the Chiefs went on their 5-run run, the Jags made it with Blake Bortles was in that.
Yeah, and that freaking defense that was just lights out. You know? Oh man, how crazy! Like all those kind of stats just blow my mind. It's like, wow, it really has been that way. So now we're on the 5th straight for the Chiefs, and playing the Jags, and that could be a Chiefs Jags rematch next year too. So.
I like the Jags' future. Their future has got to be the brightest it's ever been.
Oh yeah, I think so too. It's Jaguars have definitely not. It depends what they do offseason wise too on re-signing some of those guys. Right, Josh Allen on that defensive line. See if they can
Ingram especially has got to be brought back on their tight end. Like he was huge for them.
Oh yeah, and like we saw it finally. Right, we saw Ingram in his rookie year. He was so explosive with the Giants, and he was healthy, right? The whole entire year, big numbers. Got injured after that. And I we saw him with the Jacksons first year, big numbers. I'd be cautious on the deal, but I was, not to overpay. But I also agree they have to bring him back. You have to bring Evan Ingram back to your team.
Yeah, they got to bring him back, and then, like you said, be smart. But I think injuries and then just the style of play they were playing in New York, different head coaches, and you know what I mean. So like those types of things, he's got to feel pretty good wanting to play back with a guy like Trevor Lawrence and being in that Doug Peterson offense.
Yeah, I mean he had a big role in that compared to the last couple of years. Granted, he was on the field much the last couple of years. So, but I mean, if I'm him, that's my first look. How can I get back on that team where I can be used appropriately and have enough playing time?
Yeah.
That's my first take right there on it. What do you think? Any idea where do you think Sean Payton goes? Because he's now interviewing with the Cardinals.
He's got a second interview with Denver, and everything I've read is that's the
possible spot.
Number. Yeah. And the thing of it is does he bring Vic Fangio back? Now, here's the thing with Vic. That's a different owner I think maybe even, do they bring him this? Because he's been linked to Vic Fangio as his DC. Does he go back to the same town that fired him?
I mean, if he wants to be with Peyton, he would. I don't think it'd be a big issue there.
Yeah, but there's a lot of teams that could use defensive coordinators.
Oh, yeah.
Miami could use one. They fired theirs.
The Browns got theirs, right? Jim Schwartz is there now. I mean, Baltimore. It's Baltimore going after DC, or do they keep theirs?
OC, I think they fired their OC left,
the
not
OC,
DC.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's going to be a couple of these new head coaching spots that could build a staff together.
Yep.
He
See
could go
what D'Amico does over there in 49ers land.
Yeah, he could go to San Francisco. He was already there at one point, I think.
Yeah, he was.
Under the Harbaugh era. I would like to see him in. If I'm the Chargers, that's where I would try to go to. Is him?
That's where I mean. I don't think the head coach's leaving part, getting fired or whatever it is, mutually part ways is done yet. I don't think we're quite done yet. I think there's some teams still going back and forth about some stuff. Chargers.
They gotta have to hurry up because some of these coordinators are going to get hired quickly, I think.
Well, I think that's what they're waiting on is some of these guys that, on the 49ers.
D'Amico Ryans and a couple other guys. Yeah.
Yeah, possibly the Chiefs. I know Nagy and Bieniemy has been out there. And honestly, for me.
More OC jobs than Vrabel's reached out to both of those guys.
Correct, yep. And I would hate to lose a Bieniemy or to lose a Nagy over a Bieniemy. I would love to have Nagy back as the, as our OC. If Bieniemy does end up leaving, even if it is for an OC position. So, I don't know. I don't think we're done the coaching carousel.
Yeah, we'll find out. I mean, obviously we're not because we got to see where some of these guys go after this weekend. Does Dan Quinn get a head coaching job? I mean, If I'm Dan, I would stay. I would stay in Dallas and just keep doing what I'm doing and wait till, you know what I mean? Right. Like you're the shining star right now in Dallas.
You got that big defense going. You got all those guys still for another year. I would just hang tight, see what happens, keep doing what you're doing. And if the opportunity arises for an interim head coach mid-season, it's your job.
Could be you. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you there. I'd hang around. I mean, those are some of the coordinators there. I would just hang around. One would be probably Atlanta. I'd hang out there. I'd definitely hang out in Los Angeles with the Chargers next season going on. Definitely in Dallas. And then possibly, depending on how it starts, up in New York, the Jets. I could, if they get off to a really bad start, we could see something there. So, but I don't know, man. There's a lot of teams that's a lot of business decisions to be made for some of these OCs and DCs. So, all right, it's time for the final round here. Fresh out of practice, fresh out of yelling at everybody in the world. Let's bring him on. Jonathan Gershwin. Jonathan, what's up, dude?
How's it going, fellas?
Good, man. How are you?
Man, it's cold. It's 52 degrees out here. It's cold.
Yeah, you guys I think you're in the path of getting possibly some snow. That's staying south of us for the most part, I heard, or I think we're getting clipped a little bit, but
I'm supposed to get 4 to 6 inches here where I'm at.
We may be getting some snow flurries. Obviously it's not going to get where it sticks, and we'll have a couple inches of snow or nothing. But it's supposed to, it's supposed to get a little bit of wintry mixed out here tomorrow in DFW.
So do you practice outside? Do we hit ground balls in the white snow? Like a eye training, kind of deal.
Well, tomorrow's our workout day. We'll be in the gym tomorrow, so we don't need to worry about it. When we practice on a turf field right now until February, we're back on a dirt field. But Wednesday we'll be back outside, so hopefully it warms up and melts a little bit for us, where we can do so on Wednesday. But fortunately for us, we'll be in the gym tomorrow.
Well, that's lucky for you on that one. Yeah, you are right. We're supposed to only get a couple inches, though. Looks like here, so I'll take that. I don't want much. I'm good without the snow.
I dealt with that too much when I went to school out in Missouri. We had too much snow out there back in 2010 and in 2010, 2011. It was miserable. Oh, take a Louisiana and you put them out and all that. You can't live. So.
That's how it goes, man.
Oh yeah.
So we didn't get a chance to ask your thoughts last week here because we were really stuck with baseball. But I do want to kind of know what's your thoughts here on the upcoming, AFC, NFC Conference Championship games.
Man, I'm excited about it, at least. I mean, I watch a little bit. I just kind of watch as a fan of football when my Saints aren't in the playoffs anymore. But it's really compelling. That's one thing that I like about this year. There is a lot of storylines that are compelling in the NFL. It's in different ways. We had a good divisional round games with you had Bills and Bengals that nobody really saw the Bengals completely outplaying the Bills like they did. You have the Eagles that are dominating the Giants this past week. You have the Niners in their Cowboy game. So you have some going to the championship round. You know, the Bengals and Chiefs, the storyline of Burrow and Mahomes. Mahomes has been the top guy as far as quarterback for the last few years, and Burrow, who's in year three right now, or year three. Year three.
Year three.
He's getting things. You know, he's climbing up that chart to be one of the top quarterbacks. And in my eyes, he's a top 5. I put him in the top 5. If he beats Mahomes again, and this time in the AFC Championship game, you have to put him up there with Mahomes as the top quarterback in the league right now. And that warms my Louisiana heart from LSU. But that's something I'm intrigued with, because he's undefeated. He's 3-0 against Mahomes. That's one of the only quarterbacks that Mahomes has consistently lost to is the Bengals with Burrow. So that's going to be making a very interesting storyline to be able to watch this upcoming weekend. And then you have the Eagles and Niners power offense versus power defense mindset with Brock Purdy, who he's the second coming of Tom Brady, who replaces the starter, just does nothing but win. For the Niners, in leading their undefeated, their long win streak throughout, and Purdy being undefeated as a quarterback. It's very intriguing and kind of seeing that. And I saw this that Purdy and Hurts played each other in college, OU and Iowa State. And he actually outperformed Jalen Hurts.
Well, that's the thing with Brock Purdy. If he was 3 inches taller, he's probably in the second round. He's drafted in the second round, but because just like everything else, Jonathan, they want to know your measurables. But sometimes what's in here and what's in here, that don't measure out. Like I said this earlier about the 49ers. I said, you can say what you want about Brock Purdy. That team looks better with Brock Purdy offensively and more explosive than they did with Jimmy G. So to me, Brock Purdy is the real deal, folks.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Jimmy is, and a lot of people in the NFL will probably say this about him. Jimmy's limited on how you utilize him.
True.
Mm-hmm. And, he was never, even in college when he was at was he at Nevada, I think, or
no, Eastern Illinois.
Eastern Illinois. Okay, I know it was one of the small schools, but he was never even at that point a downfield quarterback who took shots. He was a typical West Coast offense style quarterback who kind of just he was just methodical in his way, and it's been his MO, and hey, he's been successful when he gets the opportunity to he's been to a Super Bowl. So I mean, obviously he's a good quarterback to do it, but when you have weapons that the Niners have, like a Deebo Samuel, the Raymond Nayuk who can run, you have good weapons that can do that. You need someone who is not afraid to go downfield, and Purdy has done that. I mean, he still takes care of the ball. He's not a rookie that just turns it over and is careless with it. He's taking care of the ball really well during their winning streak, and still able to let their playmakers take control and do what they need to do. And it helps that you have Christian McCaffrey, standing behind you. You can turn and hand off, and he runs 40, 50 yards downfield too.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, Purdy, since he's come in, the offense is just more efficient to go downfield, more efficient in the tight spots.
I mean, the better question is obviously we're talking about for this weekend, but the future, when you have, Brock Purdy, let's just say Purdy makes it to the Super Bowl, let's win or lose at that point. I mean, what do you do with Trey Lance there? I mean,
that's the number one question, right? Like that's going to be the number one storyline. Like no matter, as soon as the Super Bowl is over, let's just say the 49ers, no matter when their season ends, even if it's Saturday or Sunday, whenever it ends, that's going to be their number one storyline going forward all the way until week 1 of next year. What do they do with the quarterback situation? Obviously, one thing it's assured up with Brock Purdy is by Jimmy G, right? Like Jimmy G is no longer needed. We have a backup, whether it's going to be Trey Lance or whether it's going to be Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
But who's it going to be? And that'll be the number one storyline from the minute they lose or even if they win the Super Bowl. They would hand the trophy over, and then very next question on ESPN is, who's the next quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers? Is it Brock Purdy or Trey Lance?
Yeah, Jimmy's out based on how they negotiated the contract. They can't franchise him. They said in the contract they weren't going to franchise him. Obviously, I mean, it was just a 1-year deal. Go be a free agent and go find your next home. So yeah, Jimmy G's out of the question for it. I'm intrigued to see how John Lynch handles it, because again, if you do move on from Trey Lance after what you did to go get Trey Lance, that's you're essentially admitting you made a mistake. And general managers don't like admitting they made mistakes, especially in the NFL. You're not allowed to make mistakes, especially a first-round pick, top 5 quarterback mistake. And
he gave up the farm to get him. That's the thing.
Did.
It's not like
on a guy that hadn't played. He played one game in the last year and a half or something like that, because he only played one game at North Dakota during COVID, and then before that, their season got suspended leading into that. So like I think it was a year and a half of no football competition.
I saw a stat at the time. I think it was before this season. He had only thrown 395 passes since high school.
Yeah,
since high school, 395 passes, and you traded the farm to go up and get him in the top 5, and maybe it was the top 3. I can't remember. He was
the third, fourth pick, maybe.
He was top 5 to move up and get him based off of potential. Hey, and they make
Trevor
potential.
Lawrence, Zach Wilson. I think he went 3. Was it 3 quarterbacks taken in a
row? Maybe. But I mean, again, you have guys who you take that are based off of potential. Josh Allen. He was not a world beater out of Wyoming. No. But the potential they had for him, but he played games to where you could project what he is. Trey Lance didn't play many games in college. He hadn't played much in the NFL. So, I mean, that's a huge admittance to that you failed. And let's just put it this way now. You give a year of these defensive coordinators in the NFL an opportunity to study Purdy. So if they do move on from Lance and Purdy is the starting quarterback and he reverts back to that 7th round quarterback that he was taken as, what did you just do to your franchise now? You traded your first round pick, a top 5 quarterback who you gave up so much for to lead the franchise. You don't have Jimmy G to fall back on plan B anymore. And you're throwing the keys to the Ferrari to 7th rounder, which these teams are still trying to figure out how to handle them. Fast forward 1 year, if they do figure it out, my goodness, that's terrifying if you're John Lynch, if that's the case.
Yeah, it is. Like, that's just
his last meaningful play for Trey Lance was 2019.
Yeah.
So I mean, like he played 1 game in the COVID year 2020. Played like 3 games last year, and due to injury, for injury relief for Jimmy, and then he played 2 games this year. 1 game, and then he got hurt the next game.
By the way, so we're talking about like the negative impact of this, for John Lynch. But how about the positive impact that, despite that, giving up the farm, going after Trey Lance, you're 1 game within the Super Bowl still. Most times,
the rest of the team is absolutely
fall.
Even if, Jonathan said like he doesn't want to make a mistake, but that could be the one mistake he's ever made because the rest of that team is filled with absolute dogs.
I mean, look what happened to Jacksonville. I know the GM at the time made a mistake. I can't remember who it was, and it essentially just everything else collapsed around it. And to not allow that to happen back when Jacksonville was, two times in a row, whatever it was for the AFC titles, to not allow that to happen and be 1 game within, a Super Bowl is tremendous to me.
I mean, the other positive side is if Purdy is the real deal, you have a starting quarterback on a 7th round salary. You're taking a decent dead cap hit on Lance's contract if you trade him. It won't be anything out.
He's on a rookie contract, so I mean,
Right.
it's
So
nothing to trade that.
it's not going to be a huge hit to the dead cap, to the salary cap on that. So, and then if you can get a couple draft picks, you may not get that first round pick. You may get a solid second round, maybe a second and a fifth or something like that. They kind of fall back on. Well, then you just made your team deeper. Oh, by the way, the salary cap relief that you have a seventh round quarterback who's your starter, making $600,000. I mean, that's you're putting yourself up in a great position, not only financially, but then the draft capital that you got for Lance, and then saying the talent that you're able to go acquire even more for the next 3 years after that to continue add to this window. So I mean,
I did see if Brock Purdy wins the Super Bowl, he's his contract said he gets like $330,000 or some like
but it's still not $1 million. He's still
no. But I'm just saying though, so like that, it's like if it's just weird, like they have that in his contract, like right, like who worked that in there? Hey, if the kid leads your team to the Super Bowl as a 7th round pick, yeah, you got to owe him some money. Like, how's 300,000? Yeah, that's cool. It'll never happen. You know what I mean? And here we are, like 4 quarters away, and it could happen.
And do you think they just threw numbers in a hat, like they wrote down like here what's like 10 different bonuses, and let's just pick one, and then we'll say, hey, yeah, if this kid Brock Purdy leads us, we'll say okay, 300,000, that'll work. Yes, we'll
take it. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I mean, something just like how does that even get written into? He's the 7th round pick, like nobody ever thought of to lead this team there, and that now he's 4 quarters away. And the thing of it is they haven't scaled the playbook back for him. They're calling the same, I think, more aggressive plays than they did with Jimmy. They look just like a better team when he is in there. And that team, George Kittle is rallied around this guy, and the rest of that team is rallied around him. They just got that team is ready to go.
Well, when you do your job, which is what he has done, and you win games for your team, and again, you're not. Let me correct myself. You're not losing games in that position that he is, and his job at the beginning was, hey, just don't do anything stupid. Well, then they were like, oh, he can actually do pretty well. We'll throw a little bit more responsibility to him. Oh, he's actually doing pretty well, and he's still not losing us games. He's allowing us to win games. Of course, people are going to buy into you, and the players are going to buy in. His teammates are going to buy in because he's doing his job. Is not go lose a game. Don't be a stupid rookie. Go make some plays. Go make some plays when you're called upon, but go take care of the ball and give us a chance. And so far, he's done. So yeah, his teammates, everybody, all the leaders are wrapped around him and say, yeah, hey, this is our guy now.
I love it. Look, I'm just all ecstatic here because I know. Like, despite Purdy's contract situation, guys, like he's gonna be taken care of sponsored wise, right? He's gonna be in so many commercials.
Roman's already getting a big cock Brock. Here he is, baby. When you're big cock Brock, it's Roman, baby. Manscape and everything.
So they're gonna throw in the commercials. They'll have Big Dick Nick with it too. So.
Hey, I want to ask you some baseball questions real quick, Jonathan. What was your thoughts on the Marlins and Twins trade that happened earlier this week or late last week?
Man, I'm surprised. I was under the impression they were going to try to keep Pablo Lopez because they're building. I mean, again, Marlins, they've had moments of being a competitive team. You have your strength has been the rotation that you have with Sandy Alcantara, Pablo Lopez. Like, you had some arms to run, and you have a guy in Alcantara who can be the number one guy that you haven't had since the late Jose Fernandez, and you're building something with a rotation that you can go and you have a guy like a middle infielder like Jazz Chisholm. You're adding to the offensive side, you're adding to the defensive side by making the trade, but at the same time you're hurting your strength by trading your number 2. And again, Pablo Lopez was a really good pitcher. Like he came out this year and did really well as a solid backup to Alcantara. So I'm surprised. I don't know if that really makes the Marlins better to contend in the NL East. With the Braves, Mets, and Phillies. That's a solid. I mean, it's a solid trade to get, but you're hurting your strength, and the strength what they've been is the pitching side. This past year, they pitched really well. But I'm a little bit torn on it. I think it's a good move for the Twins because you
Great
need
move for the
arms.
Twins.
I think it's a great move. The Twins, and then the Twins went out and added a nice little glove piece in today at Michael A. Taylor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I mean, you're getting yourself set up, but again, you needed arms, and they that was, correct me if I'm wrong, because I have to remember about the AL Central, but what let them down the most down the stretch was their pitching. They struggled pitching. They
2 years in a row.
Yeah. So if you're the Twins, bravo, great trade.
Mm-hmm.
And you just made yourself even better because again, your lineup's solid. Your lineup's solid. You have Correa now, fully invested for the next 6 years. You have good pieces around you to really compete for the Central, which is the Central's wide open. So I mean, the Indians are still there. I mean, obviously you have to contend with them. You have, but Tigers
the Indians are not there. They're the Guardians. The Indians are not there.
Do I have to
don't get us out here and get us canceled?
Keep it appropriate.
Do I have $25 or something like that? What it used to be with one of the teams, they changed their name and they had to pay $5 or not. I'll send it to I'll send it to the commissioner or whatever. But
there you go.
But yeah, Guardians are they're still a contender in the Central, obviously being champions of the division. Tigers, I still don't know what they're going to be. I mean, they're trying to build up that farm. They're trying to get a little bit more talented in the younger side, but they're just so hit or miss. I don't think they're going to be jumping themselves into the contention side of the division. Royals, I don't know. They just got
Aroldis Chapman, baby.
If this was 2013. Great, outstanding.
Yeah, exactly, right?
But not in 2023. Aroldis Chapman. I don't buy into that. I'm sorry, man. But
me neither. I was just that's their big free agent move. Aroldis Chapman.
The best thing we can do with that move is he performs really well the first half of the season, and we get some trade out of him. That's
right.
Yeah,
that's the best move I could see on this situation.
Which, hey, I mean, if that's the case, then why not go? If he has a good rate of saves and his ERA is down, he's not giving up long shots. Hey, yeah, flip him. I mean, that wouldn't be a bad thing to do. But I mean, is he going to be that guy still? That's the biggest question, especially when he quit on the Yankees in the playoffs. That hurt more than anything else, and that hurt his character a little bit more. Does he still have what it takes? I don't know, but
I wonder if there's a bet on FanDuel to see how long till our Chapman walks off the Royals organization. I will put that down.
First 2 weeks of spring training,
the casual May losing streak.
Exactly. Is the over under in May?
That's what I'm saying, May.
But I mean, if you're the Twins, like I said, that was a move for the Twins. They really that puts them right there with the Guardians to contend in the AL Central. And I think
White Sox signed Benintendi and started making a couple moves too. Though I think the White Sox might actually, without La Russa doing what La Russa did last year, I think that's a team to watch out for.
They did lose Jose Abreu.
They lost their
MVP. Big bad.
They lost their MVP in Abreu. I mean, they have a lot of questions, and I know La Russa's gone, but it doesn't eliminate the questions of the players. That the talent level on paper, absolutely. I put the White Sox on there, probably the most talented team. Right up there with the Guardians.
Division for sure. They're the best, the most talented on paper.
But they're the most underachieving team in that division with the talent they have. They have not, and it's been their history so far with that group. They haven't figured it out to turn it into a contending team, and that's the question that I don't have confidence in the White Sox right now until they show me this year. If they come out all firing on all cylinders and they jump out and they're right overhead with the Guardians and the Twins, then we have a conversation to say, hey, watch out for the White Sox. But I mean, they were my pick last year in the division, and they were absolutely dreadful to watch, and they were dreadful to see. And I mean, it's definitely soured my opinion on them to see could they be a contending team, and I'd have to see it to believe it first.
Jose Castro, the new hitting coach there, says even he made a report here that he has no idea how he's going to replace Jose Abreu. Abreu's bad, so there's a lot of things that I have to work on during spring training for that team.
Oh yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. I mean, the division is going to be pretty competitive with those three teams at the top. And again, the Royals and Tigers, they're trying to get it figured out as far as with the young guys, and it's going to take some time with the rebuild. But the Tigers are going to have they're going to get a lot of storylines because of Cabrera, and I think this is Cabrera's last year, so they're going to get a lot of that attention. But other than that, that's basically all they're going to get this year. And I think they're still going to be just behind right now with the top teams in that division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, what else you got? I know
that's it, man. You got?
Oh, you said those two?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you don't want to talk about Owatani saying that he wasn't the best player on the Japanese World Series Classic team.
No. Unless I want to talk to Otani about coming to the Cubs.
Hey,
I'm just going to speak crazy things into an existence, baby, and it'll happen.
I was like, didn't the Cubs make another move since then?
No, we just got Trey Mancini, but that was it's pretty much a done.
Okay. I will say,
I like that side.
Cubs are going to be sneaky. I'll give you a little bit of hope, Nick. I think they're going to be
right before I go to bed, Jonathan. I need it.
You know, they're going to
be up.
They'll be a sneaky team. I think on paper right now they're better than the Brewers. I don't think they're better than the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are going to win the division. They're going to run away with that division. But I think they're going to. I think the Cubs can be a contender for a wild card this year. I think they can.
That's all I hope for. I want to play. Only thing I want is meaningful games in August. I don't want my baseball season to end in April, where I have nothing to do all summer. So just give me till August, September to keep me going.
Well, you have training camp at that point for NFL by August, though. So
that's true.
No, but I like the moves. I like some of the things that the Cubs have done. I know Mancini is a good pickup. You have Bellinger with the no shift in baseball now that can maybe rejuvenate him to at least be a formidable hitter with his power that he's still going to have. The only thing if I'm Belly, then I'm concerned about how the wind blows in a lot in Wrigley. Then that wind is absolutely brutal.
I worry about our pitching. That's one thing we don't have. We don't have.
I'm worried with that, but I could see. I mean, again, if you put yourself, the Braves rule is if you're within 10 games by the All-Star break, you go all in. If you can make a move to at least get yourself within. So again, if you're within 10 games of the division, if you're within 5 games of the wild card, I think the Cubs could make a move to add to that pitching staff, and I think they will. I think they'll be a team that will hang around. There's some talent on that team, especially in the lineup, that they're going to score some runs when the opportunity comes. Like I said, the pitching is going to be the biggest question mark for them. Do they have enough to really contend with the wild card teams? Again, you have the 3 teams in the NL East going to go at it. So that means the 2 of the teams in the NL East is going to be wild card. You have the 3 teams out in the West. Padres, Dodgers, Giants. You have the Diamondbacks have made.
If we can just beat up on our own division outside the Cardinals, so beat up on the lowly Reds, beat up on the lowly Pirates, and you beat the Brewers, you're going to give yourself a chance because those other divisions are tougher than the Central. You just said it. The East is going to be tough. They're going to beat up on each other and beat up on the Nationals. The West, the same thing. Like they're going to beat up on each other, and then the Diamondbacks are kind of be right there, somewhat competitive. So can the Cubs just beat the bad teams in their division and maybe have a decent enough record to where they can slide in?
Yeah, because again, 3 teams in the East and 3 teams in the West that are going to be in the conversation for postseason play. So the Cubs have to do. I mean, you have to, like I said, beat up on those lower level teams in the Central. But you're gonna have to win the series against the season series against the Brewers. You're gonna have to steal a few games away from the Cardinals as well to even be close to contention, as well as doing the same thing to the East and in the West teams. But they'll be in the conversation. That's what I'm kind of predicting right now. They'll be the second team in the Central. They'll be in the conversation. Will that be enough to make the wild card? I don't know, but you're in the right direction, and I think that's a big thing for right now for Cubs fans. They want to be in the right direction.
Yeah,
amen to that.
Carlos, what's up, man? He says the East always seems scary and pulls the Dallas Cowboys that muck it up. That's a fair take on that one. Oh man. Well, Jonathan, I guess I don't know much more right now. I know spring training is right around the corner, so we're gonna have a lot more to talk about baseball wise here. You know, what spring training starts in 2-3 weeks? Super Bowl week.
3 weeks, I think. I think it's the 3 weeks. That's after the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. Because
Yeah.
everybody, pitchers and catchers report a little early. Obviously, with the World Baseball Classic starting up
Yeah.
this year, so they'll be returning. They'll be getting there a little bit earlier than normal. Position players will follow 3 days after. I think it's 3 days after pitchers report. So we're right there. We're on the home stretch to get to spring training.
We'll have to start making our division picks once it gets a little closer. Kind of look at each.
We kind of break
team.
down it. Yeah,
break each division down.
I'm excited.
Get out and ready.
I haven't got to break down baseball in quite a few years. It feels like so. I'm excited to kind of break down some of these teams and dig a little deeper into their roster and stuff like that. So that'll be good. That'll be good this year. Getting back acclimated with the world of baseball.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, Kansas City don't have any, so
I said everybody else in the world of baseball. I know it's here and it ain't pretty. Carlos says the Padres and Giants need to add a few more arms. I mean, do they have spend more money? I guess. And the Dodgers keep racking them up. Yeah.
I'll save if we're gonna plan to break down divisions here later in the spring. I'll save my opinion. I have some. I got some opinions about the West that may surprise a little bit. So
save those when we break down the National League West.
I'll definitely save that when we do our division breakdowns later on. We get closer to spring training because, like I said, I got some hot takes that will, like I said, will be some a little bit surprising for 2023.
Oh, I'm ready for that. I'm ready to hear some of that. I don't know, Nick. You got anything else?
Nah, I'm good.
You're good, Jonathan. You got anything else you want to chat about?
Hey man, like I said, I've always enjoyed this with you guys, and man, this is fun, man. Like I said, this has been a lot of blast doing this and being able to connect with you guys and be able to just talk sports. So man, I got nothing else with that, but I just a lot of appreciation for letting me come on on y'all show each week and talk sports with you guys.
We love it, man. It's so much fun every Monday night. We talk with you. We talk with Jim early. It's just kind of the perfect balance. I heard there might be a rumor, guys, after NFL season. There might be a rumor of an add-on. So we'll see. We'll see if that ends up being the case.
Well, he's the co-host whore of Let's Talk Sports, so we're going to have to pay out our highest bidders. So.
we got some bids out there.
I say that because he's he's my co-host on my own show. So he's the co-host whore of Let's Talk Sports.
He stepped it up this year. I like it. All right, man. We'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll talk next Monday. Obviously, a lot championship weekend with AFC and NFC. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that and maybe some more baseball news. So,
next week I can actually jump on a little bit early with you guys, and so we don't have practice next week. So I can jump on a little bit earlier, be on a little bit longer with you guys, if so. So we can plan out that if we get to that point with it.
Hey, hop on whenever, man. Don't bother us. We'll get you in. So
sounds good, guys.
I like it. All right, Jonathan.
Best of luck to you later, dude.
Take it easy, fellas.
See you, man. Well, Nick. Championship week is here. A lot of excitement. Big weekend. You got anything cool coming up? Any cool shows?
Yeah. Thursday we'll do the Bodkin show. I'm going to be Wednesday. I'm going to be on the Scott Cope show. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be on the Scott Cope show Wednesday. Asked me to come on. Then I have the Bodkin show on Thursday. We'll be talking the playoffs, a little UFC, past the results on 284 that happened this weekend, a little bit of everything. And then Sunday, I actually have my biggest guest to date, Super Booker Dan booked my biggest guest, and now I don't even know his name. Former number one tight. He was a first-round pick as a tight end by the New York Giants way back in the mid-90s. Let me find the name. I had to Wikipedia him because I had to do my homework. I was doing my homework on him. And so I wouldn't sound super dumb when I interview him. And that is going to be Derek Brown is going to be joining me
yeah.
on Sunday. Biggest get yet. Former first-round pick, Notre Dame player, played with the Giants and the Jaguars. So
Giants and the Jags. Hey, that's gonna be fun. Well,
yeah, I'm super excited. It's gonna be on Sunday, 8 Central, 8:30, 8 Central. Could go earlier. I told Dan, just let him know I'm available all day Sunday. So anytime he wants to hop on, I will change my schedule for that guy. So
that's awesome, man. That's a big guy too. Notre Dame guy too. On top of that,
yeah.
That's
So
gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Not early 90s. I think that's Lou Holtz era, so I'd like to get some Lou Holtz stories in. We're gonna talk a little bit of everything. Little Giants, little how game completely different, right? Tight end position. He's drafted first round tight end. And now the game is totally spread out to where, you have these huge tight ends, Kelsey, and, kind of fits because we're going to be Kelsey and Kittle in the championship games, the two best tight ends in the league. And I'm going to be talking to a tight end. The game has changed since he has played, obviously, where, early mid-90s, it was all blocking tight ends, and you're lucky to catch a few passes. And today's game,
yeah, I mean, he looked like he was also part of the end or the beginning of that big tight end change too with the Raiders and Cardinals.
He got a severe injury is what kind of affected his career. So the injury doesn't happen. Maybe it's a little bit better, but I'm super excited.
That's going to be awesome. That's going to be awesome. So awesome. Well, we'll be tuning in.
I don't know if he knows what he's getting into talking to, coming on the Bodkin show, but, we'll see.
You don't. I'll reach out for his Twitter just to warn him. Like, hey, just don't leave. Whatever you do. That's awesome. Dan out there making big moves here.
Yeah.
I love seeing that here. I always appreciative of Dan of Let's Talk Sports. Guys, if you hit that bell below, you're going to know when that video pops up here. It gives you all the notifications. Let's Talk Sports across the board. And of course, also on the Buffoon show or the Sports Buffoons channel, the Bakken Show channel, and also the Whiskey Sports Podcast channel. So, guys, we'll be out and about here. Obviously, Sunday game day show. It's gonna be a big one. Championship day. So excited for that one. But yeah, guys, tune in, hit the bell, like, subscribe. We'll catch you next Monday night for our recaps on the weekend. So we'll see you guys. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Buffoons and Bakken show. Make sure you hit that bell, subscribe, and follow for more content. Swing over to the Bakken show, subscribe and follow for him. And then also swing over to Let's Talk Sports Network and go subscribe to him because it's phenomenal for what he does. And there's a lot more to come on that channel between